me one. Now it does it. Cost me an extra button. So here we go. Now it's going to go live, I think. Maybe. Oh,
it says it's
today.
live.
There it is. Okay.
Recording.
We are live by my view. There it is. We're live. Okay. Yay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this. I've got there. Sorry. I had a echo because it was live on one and I'm live on the other. So got that figured out. So anyway, welcome to today's Seattle YouTube Creators Meetup. We are talking today about media kits and branding. So what we can do is we have a small enough group. Let's just go around real quick and just say our names. And if we're able to, in about 6 or 7 words, what our channel is about. And I will go first and then I'll pick someone. And when you're done, you will pick the next person. So I'll go first. My name is Joel. I go by Joel the Geek, and I focus on comic book conventions and cosplay. And my channel is called Joel the Geek. I will pick Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. My channel is called Paradetta, and I make nerdy craft tutorials. And also on TikTok as well. And I will pick Di.
Hi, this is Di, the bass playing mom. My channel is called Real Beal, and I discuss bass gear and more. And I will pick Eugene.
Hi, my name is Eugene. I run a YouTube channel called Studio Cap'n, where we make 360 animated films and animated content. And I pick Shelly.
Hi, I'm Shelly. I have a YouTube channel called Shelly Saves the Day, and we're talking about how to YouTube and all about the creator economy. And I pick Christopher Ting.
Hi, I'm Christopher Ting. I don't have a YouTube channel, but I am an attorney who works with video creators and helps them go through the red lines and contracts with my law firm. So I'm here to basically, help out and maybe clear up some understandings that I can.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, sir. Last person there, Jim. We're just doing introductions. You want to just tell us who you are? I just said your name, but what you do on YouTube.
Hey, yeah, my name is Jim Upton. I am a blogger more than a YouTuber, but I do have a YouTube channel and do some stuff with my blog on it. Also, I help organize the Seattle WordPress bloggers meetup too, and our meetup is next weekend. We're going to be talking about themes, so if anybody wants to, if that's of interest to anybody, you can join through the meetup app.
Actually, shoot me a link to that, because I am relaunching my website and it's a WordPress one, and I friggin' remember now how much I hate WordPress.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead and put that link in the chat for us. Thanks. All right, so let's just get to a few questions. I don't have too much questions because we're going to be doing this more of just us sharing what we have and what we know about media kits and going from there. So what a media kit is for. So media kit is a great way to help you share with an organization, a company, a group, a convention, somewhere you're going to want to connect with other people and share who you are, and you want to make a good impression. It's sort of like a resume for your channel or your social media, so you can then show to them, hey, these are the things that are the most positive, most important things you should know about me, and this is why I think we should either connect up and do something together, or you should share with me something that I can share with other people. So the question then I want to ask everyone, and whoever would like to start with, is, has anyone ever made a social media kit? We got one person's waving, another person pointing their finger up. Anyone else made a social media kit before? Shelly's made one. Okay, cool. So if you've made one, I know, Shelly, you've got your version you found that you would have created. Would you like to share with the group what you've created?
Okay, it's kind of old. It's kind of ugly. I'm doing it because I love y'all. It's not good, but maybe we'll just update it while we're doing stuff here. So let me share my screen here, and this is an old. I use it more like a quick resume, and then I would have something separate for a media kit if we were talking about prices for things, integrations and whatnot. So this is mine. Basically, it just has some basic information about maybe some of my social stats or speaking experience or podcasts that I've been on. So if you guys have any questions about it, more than happy to do it. I think this one was done in Canva maybe a few years ago.
Mhm.
And as we were talking, I was just updating some of the social stat numbers. But like other than that, I haven't really touched it in a while.
Great. I think it was great. Like I said earlier when we were looking at it before everyone joined us, I think it's very simple. Like there's not too many things. Like I was last week I was looking online just at examples of media kits, and sometimes people do, which I've seen people do with resumes, is they think they need to put like lots of fancy like pictures and colors and icons. And I think you've made it really just really succinct and simple. This is the information I want to share with you, and it's easy to look at.
If anyone
Or
else has wants to share theirs.
I have a question for you just to kind of get an idea. Is this one geared toward specifically Shelley Saves the Day, or is it just you all together? Because I know that you have multiple channels.
Yeah, this one is just more Shelley Saves the Day in general. I probably would make one for like maybe like the beauty channel, or maybe one for maybe the Amazon channel. If I was going to be working with vendors who wanted me to showcase their products, I'd probably have something like that with different statistics, like maybe some conversion stuff or live streaming stats for my Amazon one versus like just a general over one for this.
Cool. I think that's something we talked about before when we were talking about brand deals, and specifically is gearing what you're making or what you have towards the audience you're meeting with. And I think that's a good point. Like you said, if you were doing a certain specific channel, especially if you have more than one channel, is making sure you're putting the information about that specific channel, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. I think that's important because I think Andrew, when we talked about brand deals, said some companies might not have the budget towards going towards YouTube, but they might have a budget they can put towards doing something with either TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. So having those stats be the most prominent one based on what you think they'll want to see is a good idea, which I love, because you have stats from a lot of those different things on there, like the social statistics stats. It's got a good amount of those different things that show to anyone who's looking at, so then they can look and go, oh, well, I don't have a budget for YouTube. We've already got that spent, but I do have a budget for TikTok. How does that work for you? Would you be able to do that? And that's a good starting point, I think.
Ooh, stuff on there. See, now I'm thinking, he's like, oh yeah, because you want to put your best foot forward. I have a separate resume that I have for obviously my real life work, but when it comes to social stuff, I think any of those things that you can put on there, like your Pinterest video views or something like that, is a good idea. And also, I know several people who have a second page, which is going to talk about the things that they're willing to do. And sometimes they'll list prices, but sometimes they'll just say negotiable. And it's stuff like integration, dedicated video, podcast sponsorship, and then like building up these packages with TikToks and Instagram Reels or multi-channel distribution or something like that.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions about what Shelley shared? Like any ideas or things they took away from it that I really liked?
Who is that kitty cat?
I was wondering the same thing.
Oh,
I got distracted by the kitty floofs.
That's his producer?
He's working on a media kit
Oh.
this afternoon.
He's working on a Meowdio kit.
So,
okay. So how about this? If anyone else who has done a media kit wants to join in and answer this question, where have you used your media kit at, and what has it helped you do with those organizations that you've shared it with?
I can do this. In 2019, I had a world tour. Well, world tour. It was like 10 countries and a couple spots in the US where I was supposed to be speaking, but COVID completely wiped all those dates out, which was really unfortunate. And so I had all this extra time, and I was like, how do I fill it from like home, right? And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go on a podcast tour. And I got myself a maker.fm account, And I started hitting up all these places, and I did about 40 different shows in the span of like 3 months. And the one thing everybody was asking, like, how do I get to know you? Like, do you have any photos? Do you have any like branding? Do you have like a one sheet of like what you want to talk about? I was like, absolutely. Here's my speaker website, hightechinfluencer.com. So I have a full website dedicated to just me being as like a personality. And then it comes with a folder in it that has logos, a folder that has like different versions of headshots, depending on what the atmosphere of the talk was going to be. So they can just pick it for their best audience. And I had a single document, and in it has like all the highlights from my career. And then it has a list of podcast topics that they're free to ask me about, because you do enough of these conversations tend to be very much the same, right? Speaking topics as if I was like going to be on stage and talk, and then a little bit about my studio and what we're achieving.
I've used
And-
something similar. Oh no, I was gonna say, go ahead.
Oh, and so I used that to send out to all these places once they got back to me as like they were interested in me being a guest on their show. Sorry.
That's great.
I have used something similar to that. I have a Google Drive that if anyone invites me on their podcast or live stream or anything like that, it has like 10 different headshots that they can pick from, like transparent backgrounds or not. It has a speaker bio page that they're welcome to take any amount. There's a couple paragraphs they can use as much as they want. And it also has some of my social stats, like highlights or other podcasts or conferences I've spoken at. So if they want to mention any of those things, they can. I haven't found that to work with brands, but I have found it to work with live streams or guest shows that I would be on. I do like the idea though of Eugene's adding the topics that I'm comfortable speaking about right away, because that always comes up with like, well, we want you to be on the show, but we don't know what to talk about, or like, what do you want to talk about? So having some stuff already dialed in would be a good idea.
I think that's a great thing you guys brought that up, because I have a podcast right now that's been asking me to join them, and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to talk about? And it's like, they're asking me those questions, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to. Oh my gosh! So this actually gives me something to like focus on with communicating with them about this kind of stuff.
I'm gonna just say you can download mine and just rip it off if you want, and I'm sure Shelly would.
Oh yeah, I can do the same. I can throw you my link.
Yeah,
go get it.
Yeah,
as I was just making a list of what you guys talked about. I think at least having that drive where I can have those things there that I can pull from to give to them, like the logo, the headshots.
I just give them the link to the folder and say, take whatever piece you want.
That's a great idea. Cool.
Links, please, links.
Yeah. And those of you who are watching live or watching the later, from
no
the
links for you.
Will, Shelly. Ooh,
how dare
you?
We'll
put those in the description.
Oh, or that, whatever.
Yeah. I know Shelly said earlier that she used Canva to create her media kit, and they actually, both Canva and PicMonkey actually have a section in their blogs and their about how to make those using their software online. So PicMonkey and Canva, I'll put the links to those in the description. So if you want to make something like that, you can.
What's so funny is I know that that's how old it is, because I've been using PicMonkey for the last like 4 years. So, and if I built that in Canva, it was like probably 4 or 5 years old. And I just update the stats every once in a while. Like that's how old it is. So.
But I think it's great because it's working for you. You, like you just said, you just had to update the stats or make some changes to like some of the words in it. Like, so that's great. But I like the idea of having something else that you can use that's sort of like information you can get and then give to them that they can then use to put on their promotional material or know about you better, which Eugene was talking about. So I think that's really great ideas. Cool.
Yeah, I just opened up Canva and there's so many different options and templates.
It's crazy how many things they have.
Mm-hmm.
Get lost in it. Like when I was working with Amara on today's topic, we were looking on Pinterest, and oh my, just be careful going there. You'll get lost in all the amounts of things that people have made for different topics, ranging from doing a blog to talking about podcasting, everything. So those are great places to find inspiration too for what you want to create. So does anyone else have any insight or anything they'd like to share about what their interaction was with using media kits or talking with people about their site or their channel?
I recently got hit up about co-hosting NFT Miami with who's the dude from Shark Tank? Mark Cuban.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we find out like later today whether or not Topher and I are going over there. And when my name came up, they invited me to a Telegram conversation with everybody who was getting there. And the first thing they said, send me over your one page. And having this available, even though it wasn't geared towards speaking at NFT conventions, the fact that I was able to just grab it and send it right away was such a time saver.
Cool. One of the things I've been doing is I will try to, any comic book convention I'm going to go to, I find out if they have press badges available. The only difference is they have an application you fill out. So it's really more like I have a Word document that I have saved information that I can then plug into the applications, as opposed to having a one page that I would send to them, because they have that format. And what I've done is, if it's a specific con that I've already been to, I make a playlist of that con that I can then put into the section where they say, show us what you've created or what kind of other media that you've done. So then they have it, like they can see that, oh, I've been to their con already. I've already talked about their con. I've already promoted their con just in general. That then gets them to see, oh, okay, this is someone who knows our con, has already been there and has shared stuff. And so that's been really helpful. I've gotten 3 press passes because I've included that in it. Whereas before I didn't get too many yeses because of it. So it's been helpful. That's what I've done in that sort of sense of like trying to connect and use my information in a way that's helpful. But focusing on the stuff that's important, like I have like 600 subscribers. So I usually don't tell them that, because there is that notion in the world, like, oh, what's your subscriber count? Like, how many followers do you have? Well, that's like really low. But then like I tell them, oh, here's the views of one of the videos from my went to your con. That view is very high. They see that view, and that's actually helped as well. So focusing on the things that you think would help them see you, like what's your strengths, I guess is what I'm saying.
Have you, when you apply for press passes at these conventions, have you noticed that the application process is pretty much the same at everyone?
The ones that I've done so far, yeah, it's been the same sort of information. They sometimes word things a little differently. Like sometimes they'll ask for they'll ask you what publication you're with, or other times they'll ask what organization you're with, but usually it's the same exact stuff, just who you are, what you're doing, you know, what's your, sometimes they call it subscriber count or subscription count, or they'll sometimes call it your viewership count. But it's usually the same normal things that each of them ask. But the cool thing is I found is some organizations, some cons, if you get a press pass once from them and you apply again, you're automatically going to get it. So I've been now to Vancouver Fan Expo 3 times. I still have to apply, but they're automatically giving it to me ever since I did the first one. They just know to give it to me. So that's one of the really great things is once I've done it once, they're usually gonna like automatically gonna be giving it to me again, because I'm a known factor now to them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing with me that I found, is that once you're in kind of thing. Because like
Yeah.
I've had like with me when I first started applying, they went by my website traffic, and then since then my website traffic has dived because of a Google algorithm update. And so anyway, but I'm still in. And this is I did it before like the blogger, or excuse me, before the influencer thing really took off. So I don't know how they're accepting those in my industry yet or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, cool. I know, Diana, you rose your hand. Can you share any insights you've come from using yours?
Yeah, I just made a Canva one to apply to get a media pass, and I got it. So it must not have been that bad, but it's several pages, which is now embarrassing that I see the 1 pages. That's where you get sucked into Canva. It's so fun to use. But and of course, all my statistics are out of date and everything since we haven't. Mine was the first month of 2020 that I went, and they haven't been accepting media applications yet, so I'm a little bit nervous. My backup plan is to ask a brand if I can be a guest of their booth at the, because they have guest artists a lot of times at the booths for the National Association of Music Merchants, and I was just wondering, how do you change? Do you give them can those that have worked on media kits, what do you give brands when you're applying to work with a brand?
Depends on what they want. Did they ask you for a media kit? Or are you like offering it up?
I was going to offer it up to remind them who I am. They stole one of my videos and used it to sell a whole bunch of their product. And so they kind of love me now because I didn't get mad about it. And so I think they owe me at least for, an admission to the.
I feel like there's a lot more to unpack there, Di.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you want to send it to the people who stole your video already and are happy with you because you didn't like go after them legally.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, kind of. They already sent me $500 worth of merch, but that's not, all they made.
That sounds like hush money.
Yes. Yes.
You're like, my lips are getting real itchy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How long ago was this? And are you still like in good contact, like recent contact?
Well, no, because of COVID. But prior to that, during COVID, they sent me the gear.
Do they still want to use your video? Like, did you give them rights to use it after?
No, they just stole it. We have no, gosh, if there was a lawyer here, we have no legal relationship.
I meant, obviously the video was probably working for them to sell the product by using you, right?
Uh-huh.
So what would you charge them to make a video for their product? Or how long was the video?
They cut it down. So they probably used 30 seconds or a minute.
And where'd they put it?
They were showing it directly to partners in other countries.
Wow.
And using it to make, big sales.
How much did they make?
They did not tell me, but they said that it was a hit with all of their Asian clients overseas that were there at the conference.
Why don't you offer to license it to them in a package along with whatever else you want from them?
That's a good idea.
And so, as the lawyer, I am not your lawyer. I am a lawyer. Typically when the brand licenses videos from creators, the rights and the licenses that they will actually sign for will say exactly what they can and cannot do with the video, including edits and cut downs and things like that. Some people are very, very picky about the edits and do not even allow edits, and that in and of itself would cost additional money to license the right to be able to edit your video and your content. So I think what Shelly says is a good first step, is like, even though you don't want to necessarily take this to like a full-blown, lawsuit or a court action, it might be a good idea to contact them and say something like, hey, you've been using my video without permission. I'm willing to license it to you, but only if, you pay me X fee is what I normally charge for this kind of thing.
Okay.
At the same time, they don't want to get in trouble. So, you probably can work something out.
Especially if the video is working for them, they want to use it. So you just make it really easy for them. And if they've already cut it down, just charge them more for it and be like, I'm gonna let you use this, and you have to either cut me in on a percentage of like a commission deal or a flat fee or whatever. And also, like, where's the video live? Is it still part of a video that lives on your channel?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
another.
They don't want you to take it down, do they? Right?
No,
because it's like free advertising for them. So they just want the 30 seconds that they ripped out of it, right?
Yeah, that's the part where you need to put like your name. Or
Well, you
some
could work that
more-
into the agreement and say like, hey, I'm willing to let you use this clip if you put my branding on it, or you pay me more to not have the branding on it. You can live on your stuff, like your channel or your whatever, and you charge them more for that because it looks like you're either a spokesperson or they paid you for an in-house ad for them.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
like, yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna say it sounds like you need to add a stolen video item to your media kit. If you
if
steal
I
my
find
video,
you
if
taking
you
my
steal my
stuff,
video, it costs you X amount.
there's
you
a
know?
recovery fee of
There's a
X
Recovery
amount.
fee. There you go. Maybe one of your,
At-
that could be your stats. One of my video, 30 seconds of one video has been used, pirated.
Well, you know what though, Diane, I think you could probably, I'm sure you could get them to give you a flat fee and whatever you were wanting, tickets or sponsorship or whatever to whatever conference. I'm sure they'll give it to you because they want the video.
Oh, yeah. They want the video.
You know, as we're having this conversation, I'm actually literally reporting a Twitter account for stealing one of my videos.
Yikes.
Yeah.
How much is the thing that they're selling?
You know, I didn't pay. I mean, the product that it was a certain iteration. This iteration, I guess it's about $200, I think.
Because depending on where you would have done a commission thing anyway, like on Amazon, depending on the category, it might only be up to like 4% anyway.
Yeah.
So you might actually be better off just getting a flat fee from them as a licensing agreement to give it to them and say like, go ahead, use this video and pay me, whatever your number is that you want from them, plus the media pass or whatever you're talking about. I would throw out a just an email and be like, hey, I know that you guys have this video and you have some interest in it. What are your ideas on licensing it?
That might
Make
be
me an
a great
offer
idea. Yeah.
and let them put a number out first.
Or even tell them, would you like to work with me more, and put out a number on what you could do for them more. They really
Oh.
liked it,
Well, I would let them buy the piece that's already working for them, plus
that's
work
a good
with
idea.
you on a package deal for a new thing that could either live on their channel, your channel, on an Instagram reel, a TikTok, whatever. And you work that out with them as part of a package negotiation, but be like one thing from the past and something in the future.
Do you have the name of a person there that you've already been talking to, or has it just been a
I did
general-
before COVID,
Okay.
but things obviously got way more difficult.
Yeah. I
And,
mean, you can still try and reach
we're
out to
going
that
to have the
person.
conference and now we're not. And we're going to have, it's been doing that.
Yeah, that's hard too. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I'd propose it sooner rather than later because however many iterations also happen if that product is no longer like being sold or popular or
Yeah.
whatever, like you want to get your money now before they move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you couldn't try other organizations that are going to be at that, if that con is still happening. Is there a way to know who's going to be there this coming year's convention that you can reach out to like talk to them about doing something at the con with them, or at least being able to set up an interview with someone from their organization to like talk about a product?
I don't know.
Okay, because that's one of the things I do after even if I don't get the press pass, I try to find out what like creators are going to be there, what maybe some like groups or organizations that are going to be there, and try to reach out to them before the con and set up a time that I can like meet with them somewhere that's away from all the noise to do an interview, and at least set that up. Even if I don't get the press pass, that I'm still doing what I wanted to do at the con anyway. And then that way I've started making momentum. So then next time, if I do go to the con, I could show them, hey, I've already done some press related stuff at your con. Here's that. And you could also use that for other organizations that might be at that con, and then maybe create something that doesn't have to be at the con. Like with this one, making something where if they've sent you something, you can say, hey, great, I'll do this. But we have this one thing you did. If you want me to do this going forward, let's talk about like a deal.
I also take a peek at the sponsors list of that con.
Oh yeah.
'Cause those are all the people who've already spent money to advertise. And if any of them are brands that you've already worked with and have inroads with, hit them up and be like, hey, I see that you're sponsoring this con. You want me to, like come do something at your booth or do some sort of story or whatever else, make sure you get me a pass and we meet down there or whatever else it is.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because it's what's the word I want? It's a ticketed event, must show ID and license, and you cannot buy a ticket because it's a trade show. So
Oh,
you
that's
have to
right.
be
It's a
in that
trade show.
to get the tickets. And so,
Well,
it's
if any
real-
of them are brands you've worked with, make them give you a ticket.
well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Like make them give you.
That's what I want. I want the ticket.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions about media kits or branding they'd like to share, or any thoughts they have on that?
So yeah, so it sounds like one page is the way to go with these things, right? Keep it kind of short and simple type of thing.
Well, it depends what you're trying to go for. I mean, if you're just trying to get the nuts and bolts in there, so they just have a quick overread, one page is absolutely fine. But if you're trying to get into like the nitty ditty details of like nitty ditty, the small details of like what your demographics are, your viewership for each platform, trying to put like visuals for, how to better convey all this information on the pages, you might have 2 to 3 pages.
I feel like that's a go back and forth, and I'm not going to send that to a brand on first iteration. And I think some brands are even like, if you have a one pager, send it. A lot of them never even ask. I can't even tell you the times that I've actually had to use that thing, ever. Just having one, sure, but they don't ask for it. And if they did, well, I'd send it to them, but I would still be more interested in the nuts and bolts of not only per platform, but what's the goal? What are you trying to do? What is success and how do you measure it? And how do you want to work on compensation type stuff? And that's a different conversation that I feel isn't going to come in one of those media sheets or demographic sheets ever.
So if they want to work with you, they've probably already spied on you already,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's I don't need to reiterate what my reach on Instagram is if you've already done the Instagram calculator and know what my engagement rate is, or you can just see how many followers I have. I don't need to send you another sheet of that and my demographics of my Instagram, unless you're an Instagram only brand and you're worried about trying to hit your target demographic and see if I align. But other than that, that's further on down the road in negotiations than I think the first few emails and DMs are.
And so this is probably something that they asked for. You probably don't have it accessible really anywhere, from a website or in a call to action and your profile. You probably, yeah, right. I mean, it's probably just contact me or something.
I have seen one person put it on their website and just embed it and be it's a work with me type of thing with a link to download the latest version. And I don't know if she has any stats on how often people actually click it. But I also don't think it's necessarily the right way to go, because as she grows and her numbers grow, her prices should go up for different things, or she should be tailoring some of these packages to whatever she wants to do. And I feel if you just say podcast sponsorship, $600, well, maybe you could have gotten $1,000 out of them and gotten them into a longer contract. And so instead of just putting it out there, except to set the expectation of it costs money and it's in this ballpark, I just don't see necessarily the need to give it to them before they ask.
Thank you.
But also it works for her. And so she's making a lot of money. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. It's good. I mean, it's just good to know, it's one of these things where I kind of need to get one of these at some point, and I'm just trying to learn how it works.
Well, you're in the right place.
I can say from also the perspective of the brand, they are extremely metric focused in a lot of their deals. So they do really care about having those kind of metrics for engagement and your audience and things like that. And that's something that they will definitely put, if they proceed to go forward with you, they will put that into the contract, saying they want to see the results of whatever video, whatever thing you make for them. They want to see those results within 24 hours or 48 hours of the post going live.
And I feel you have to work into the contract how do you, like, how can you track it? Like, are they going to give you a separate UTM link, a specific coupon code, a specific landing page? If there's no other way except for, did people buy it? Well, you don't know if it was just normal traffic because people were going to buy it anyway, or they were actually directed because of you. So I would work into your contract. How do you know that it's going to get attributed back to you as being the successful piece that brought people there? Because you're also going to use that maybe in the future when you work with another brand with, you know, we sold X amount of units and whatever else it is. You want to be able to like repeat that for someone else.
These are all great things to know, especially when it comes to like figuring out how it's gonna work out monetary wise, you know, knowing what's gonna be the metric like Chris was talking about. So that's really great.
And I know Andrew would tell you too, but like if you can package a deal, it's so much better than just a one-off post. Because a lot of the time when people have a relationship with a brand, it can keep paying dividends versus just the one-time deal.
Yeah, I know a con, the con I was talking about in Vancouver, they've made connections with the cosplayers in the area, and every few months, even though the con's not going on, the con happens once a year, they've started making these meetups where the cosplayers that are in the area that attend the con will do these meetups to talk about things that are going on. Like if say the next TV show Moon Knight's going to be happening. So they're going to do like a meetup where they like do a watch party for the first episode. And so it creates this ongoing connection with that organization and that group of people to help them each sort of work together, which has led to one of the cosplayers was given a booth at the con this year. And they made a whole cosplay area where there were like cosplayers from other places that came in, and they actually they're like, hey, we really like what you do when you've been doing these meetups. We want you to be here and support you and give you a place where you can like have people come and talk to you at a booth as opposed to you wandering the con. And so it's always a good idea to have that ongoing kind of connection. I think I agree. That's really great.
Yeah, sometimes weird things happen from relationship based too. I just got an invitation to go be a speaker at a conference in Florida, and they're going to pay for, you know, like my flight, my hotel, and different things like that. And I didn't apply to speak at their conference. They actually sent me a message and are like, we're putting together our roster and we need you on it, so you have to come. And that is a weird relationship that's been going on for a couple of years. So like when you do stuff like that, like a lot of the time, if it goes well or the relationships are right, like they boomerang back again in the future.
That's dope.
That is great.
Does anyone have any, like, does anyone want to try and build one live, or questions about what you might put on yours? Or, I mean, we have some time if you guys want to do it.
I got a question about, so the pricing part of it. So I'm not going to ask anybody I'm not going to get too personal with any of you guys. And obviously Willie here is very,
you're getting pretty personal with that kitty cat.
Like, tell me now. Tell me what I need to know.
Personal.
Willie wants to know what to charge for it. No. So somehow a brand has to come up with a number on what this is worth, right? And you guys have to kind of come up with a number on what it's worth to you. How have you guys like looked to set? Do you have resources? Do you have intelligence type of work that you've done? Like how would you come up with the pricing for your sheets?
So there are a couple of different schools of thought for this. One is for X dollars going into a video or a project or a series of videos, there should be an expectation of this much value in return. That value is usually in terms of views that get put into a funnel that lead to sales, right? The other school of thought is I run my channel like a production company. So our product that we're making for people is the content itself. And so I'm like, yeah, a camera guy is $1,500 for a day, right? A boom op is like $800. If you want like a drone, we're going to have to find somebody else for like $2,500. And so it becomes a much bigger commercial, much more like it's going on TV than traditional like YouTube. And so there's a little bit of a difference between there. Most people don't have the resources I do to put that together. And so they're usually like a one-man team or one-woman team, right?
Yeah, that's so yeah, it's like I get what you're saying about it's a production company. So
Mhm.
one would entail more risk for the, for the brand, and
Yeah,
and
so,
one
yeah.
is more risk for you, and you should get paid for taking the risk,
Yeah. So basically, when we look at it, we basically go, it's going to be this much to create the video, and then you're going to need to put marketing dollars behind it to get it seen, right? Versus a YouTube channel going, hey, I make videos about iPhones, and you want me to make a video reviewing your iPhone, specifically as like a sponsored video. This is what the average for what my videos usually get in this area or in this niche. And if you want more than that, we can still make the video for you, but there's probably going to have to be a secondary budget to help push that video on the internet. And that actually, you might actually even go, I'm going to take a smaller cut than that, because in return, they're also promoting my channel, which the video is sitting on.
I would say a few ways that you could price things. One, ask your community and friends of like other creators, has anyone worked with X brand? And if so, what were your deliverables and what was the range of pay? Some people, if they're really cool and believe in wage transparency, they'll tell you. And some people will give you a ballpark. Some people only tell you the number of commas, maybe, because they're dicks. That's just my personal experience of that.
Yeah.
I would say that it's going to be dependent on a lot of different factors, such as how many views do you typically get on a video and what's your maybe normal CPM. Let's not forget that this video, you may have an exclusivity period. You may have a period where it has to live on your channel, like for a year, or you're allowed to take it down in a certain amount of time. You may have a situation where they want rights to that video. You may want a situation where they also want you to push it out on other platforms like Pinterest video or TikTok or Reels or something like that. You could have things like views bonuses, where if you reach over a certain amount of views, then you get paid an additional bonus. Plus, you also have to work in how you get paid. Is it a flat fee? Is it commission based? Is it referral based? Is it an ongoing type of in perpetuity type of thing? Who owns the footage? Because if they own the footage, but it lives on your channel and you decide to quit your YouTube channel or whatever else, or you may want an opt-out clause because of like you have a weird thing where all of a sudden the owner comes out and he's a gun-toting, Putin-loving whatever, and you don't want to be associated with that anymore, or they have some other thing that's happened and you don't want to be associated with that anymore. You also have to then decide like how much of your audience is going to be pissed off or integrated. Is it going to be a direct sponsorship where it's the whole video? Is it just 30 seconds of a video? Is it at the end of a video for 2 minutes? Is it integrated into a favorites of some, like you have to kind of decide what all of that package looks like, and be willing to kind of go with that. And then also like, how long does it take you to film, edit, script that video? Because you could pay yourself an hourly wage on that. If you wanted a base number, are you only getting paid in product plus residuals? Like, does that make sense? So it's hard to just say like 1,000 views, you should be paid $500, because it just really depends.
There is a lot of things that go into the pricing for a deliverable or for a video that you'll be creating. Along with what Shelly mentioned, some of the other, I think this is something that I think is very, very important, is that you retain ownership of your video and you put a limitation on how long they can use your video for or your deliverable for. Because the example that I like to give is Simu Liu, the actor for the Eternals, not the Eternals, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. He, when he was much earlier in his career, he took a lot of stock photos for, I forget which company it was. And because those are stock photos, those are in perpetuity, his images now can be used in those stock photos forever. Even though he's now a much, much bigger star because of the success of the movie, he's given up those rights forever. So when you're thinking about, you know, how long the company wants to use your video for, that's something that you can definitely put a limit on, and you can price accordingly. If they want it for 3 months, 6 months, or in perpetuity, you know, those prices change drastically. And on top of that, it's not just, you know, how long they can use the video, it's how they can use your video. You know, whether are they just going to be organically reposting it on, like, you know, their own Twitter or social feeds, or are they going to be paying to like boost it or amplify it through like Twitter or YouTube's algorithms, like force it to the front of people's pages or things like that. And that also typically you can charge more for as well.
I don't know if that was helpful because that wasn't a specific dollar amount, but just some things to think about.
I do have one more thing to add. I know that I'm part of like a creative group on Facebook. This one in particular is just for women, so I'm sure there's other ones that you might be able to find, but where people will post like, hey, here's what the company's offering me, here are my views, that kind of thing. How much would you charge? And kind of seeing what other creators are getting from that same company that maybe you don't know them, but they've worked with them before, and it's kind of like a nice little hive mind. So everyone's charging the same amount. So there's probably some other groups out there where you can find people that are open like that. But I know I found that really helpful, especially when it comes to like new media, like TikTok, things like that, that people aren't sure exactly what to charge. It's nice to get that like consensus from other people what they would charge in that situation.
I think it's nice too if they also share companies are a nightmare to work for.
True.
Just because like I've
That's
also
a great
seen in
idea,
some
yeah.
communities too, where it's like, oh dude, this company reached out and they're like, are they legit or something like that? And then you'll just see a flood of people being like, dude, avoid them like the plague. They never pay. They're on a net 90, which is way later than anyone else. They're always late. And so like, you know, like it's not worth the $50 or whatever that this, or they asked for like so many revisions. And I'd be like, oh heck no, not even with 10-foot pole do I want part of that. So
I would say though, do be careful if you are if you ever share this information, because there are confidentiality agreements, and despite how boilerplate a lot of them you know may seem, do be aware if they say that you're not allowed to discuss the you know the fees in this contract or like the existence of this contract, because you know those
Yeah,
things
NDAs.
they can come back and bite you pretty hard if the company really wants to enforce it.
but most of the time, those are the companies that are paying creators based on their like wildly variant. So the $50 one, and then like, you know, the person who got $10,000, they just don't want the little guy knowing that.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
Hey, thank you. I mean, I you know, I'm just curious how you guys were coming up with it. So, anyway, it's good. It's good information.
Yeah. And
I would
also
say
another good
too-
idea. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, sorry. Whatever you might make in AdSense, you might add like an extra, you know, double or triple that just as a starting point. Like you wouldn't go lower than, because you're taking, if you're one
Good
video a week and you're taking away 25% of your views in a month for a dedicated video, like it should be worth something.
I hear you. Yeah.
Question, and this, I don't know if anybody knows the answer, but is social blue book a thing that people still use?
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
It
yeah.
it still exists.
it still exists. Now
Is
it's a
it
subscription model.
worthwhile?
I think it's behind a paywall now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a subscription
Oh.
model now, but also like usually their numbers are like pretty low.
So it's not worthwhile.
Not usually.
Okay.
That's
Not
a-
allegedly
not about
my
that.
opinion.
Not unless you're making like 1 million views a week.
So social blue book you could use if you want to see what the bare minimum is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like as a never take lower than this type of number.
Yeah. Gosh, I totally forgotten about that. That's like,
I know it just popped in my head. I haven't used it in a long
Oh no, I
time.
remember it exists. I just don't want to tell you because like the numbers are never right.
totally.
Let me ask you this. Jim, do you have like a day rate that you would give yourself for work? That's a yes or no question, not a
Yeah.
math
Yeah.
question.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I would figure out what that is, and then I would, or now that you know what that is, I would now go, all right, it's going to take me so many hours of my day to make this video, and you just divide your day rate up by 8 and multiply it by the number of hours that you would, take for it.
Yeah, it's I've been kind of just I'm in a group too, kind of like Danielle is for my industry. I'm in the construction kind of industry. And so anyway, it's been very helpful because they're like way forward, everybody shares their numbers and stuff like that. So
People's.
yes, it's yeah, we're trying to help each other out. So anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, but anyway, thank you.
Well, it's been about an hour, so we're at a place where if anyone has any more questions they want to ask or any other thoughts they want to share, we can continue to do that, or we can end the meetup for today.
I just gotta say, it's nice to see everyone.
It is nice to see everyone, isn't it?
It is.
I missed you all.
Well, guess what? We're doing this again next month on the 3rd Saturday of the month.
So
We'll
are you
see
guys
then.
are you guys ever gonna go back to in person?
I think we should.
I think that's something Amara and I had talked about doing with these meetups, but we haven't made a decision yet, or we might make a separate kind of meetup that's different than this. It's more just a social hangout that doesn't have like a big structure to it. So that's something I think that's still in the works. We're still in the let's talk about that stage.
Well, I think as
idea.
the weather gets nicer, we could try and organize something outside for a lot of people too.
That's a great idea, finding an outside venue, because that was one of the problems is the last 2 places
Location.
we were doing meetups that was in person, that was a structured event. Those people that were able to host it aren't with us anymore. So we didn't have a location, but we're talking about locations for these kind of meetups. But until then, we're just gonna keep doing them virtually. So.
And
I'm
just to
kinda-
clarify, they moved. They didn't.
Oh, okay.
die.
I was like,
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
I'm sorry if it made it come out that way. That was not my.
I got really
fault.
concerned. I was like,
Yeah, the
You
one
were
gal,
eliminated, Eugene. That's all you need to know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, the
Still
one gal
here.
did
No,
have some,
Nico
in the
moved back
game.
to Germany.
I have not been voted off the island.
No, no.
Well, you remember, like, so Nico, this was in the apartment complex, common room, and he's moved back to Germany. And then before with Shannon, it was in the apartment complex, and she moved, I think, to California. So if someone has an apartment complex with a common room, that would be something.
Yeah.
I might be able to do I live in Tacoma now, but we have a big space. Like this is literally my bedroom. Like
That's
I have a
amazing
kitchen.
bedroom.
I have a kitchen.
Wowzers.
No, this house is huge. But upstairs, big living room. I can host like 12 to 15 people easily.
Cool. Well, that's something to bring up with the group. And just to know, if you don't know what group we're talking about, I'm going to put in the chat the group's information, and I will be putting that in the description of the video. So we have Facebook, we have our Meetup group. And if you do have any information or you want to share or talk about hosting or another idea for one of our meetups, definitely let Amara know. She can be found as one of the people in the group. And just so you guys have an idea, our next meetup, which is going to be April 16th, we're going to be talking about having viewers become subscribers. So that's our next meetup. So hopefully we all will see you all then. And with that, I'm going to log us out of the live. And we're just, so that's it. Thanks again for everyone for coming. And I'm glad we all got to share and support each other. So